away. May he so continue to rest in perfect
Amen.
peace. Gentlemen.
Well, the Daily Graphic this morning says 22 assemblies spent 2.4 million Ghana cedis to collect 1.3 million revenue. No Ababase. 220,000 street lights for Greater Accra ready, according to the regional minister. I'll be worried about street lighting and the traffic light situation in the country. Also, 100 million Ghana cedis, voted for tourism enterprise by Dr. Wal. Also, after 25 years of litigation, Achim Kotoku traditional council members reconcile. YEA launches youth in garment and textile module. On the back page, there's a collapse break that cuts off a Hunter West, and 65 officers undergo hazmat training.
I'll take you to the front page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. It says Ghana targets $6 billion over next 4 years from 2 domestic tourist arrivals during from 2 million international domestic tourist arrivals during Destination Ghana project. Comes with a picture of Dr. Ibrahim Mohammed Awal. There's also YEA launches garment apparel modules in Kumasi. 4 die in canoe disaster at Galingkegbu. There's also special India 77th Independence Celebration edition inside. If you go to the back page, this will interest some of you. The Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council to install 20,000 streetlights to improve security. We'll take you to the Business Analyst newspaper. It says cedi remains stable against dollar, going for 11 cedis 43 pesos. There's GJA Wisconsin University signed MOU on scholarship scheme for journalists. Petrol to sell at 12 cedis 97 pesos, COPEC predicts, and return to the negotiation table. Deputy Minister Beck Setag. Data Commission places 250 organizations under surveillance, and these are the stories captured on the front page of the Business Analyst newspaper.
Cosmo, can you take us to the fuel situation?
Yes,
I think for a lot of us, we're very curious.
Gladly do that. So, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana is predicting that fuel prices may go up by 5.7% within the second pricing window of August 2023, which begins in the next few hours. The product we know is currently being sold at pumps at an average price of 12 cedis 45 pesos per litre. Now, COPEC says the price of LPG will also increase to about 11.9 within the same period. The chamber indicated that the project retail prices of the various petroleum products will take effect on Wednesday, August 16, with petrol to be sold at 12 cedis 97 pesos per litre, diesel at 13 cedis 43 pesos, and the main price for petrol and diesel will be at 13 cedis 20 pesos per litre, while LPG will go for 12 cedis 30 pesos for a kilogram. Now, the Executive Secretary of COPEC in a statement said the second pricing window of the month of August is set to commence by the next 48 hours, and there are a lot of reasons why COPEC gave this. But what you should know is if you visit the filling station, take a lot more cash, or decide to use the same amount of cash but for reduced levels of fuel.
Is the fuel sells now at a litre of 12.95, not 4.5.
They're saying on average, so
yes,
I guess with those who
the
are
average price is 12.4.
because you can still get these interesting looking stations where
You sell it for cheap, but
you don't know what
at
you
the
are.
peril of your pump and
you.
your engine and all of that.
Thank
When you buy from there to your gauge is almost full.
So where is the gold for oil policy? The gold for oil, because it was supposed to be the game changer.
That's right.
That was what Dr. Baumia told us.
Novel, he said.
Yeah, Novel. It's never happened before.
He said you can't find it in textbooks.
Even though we know what barter trade is, and we learned it in school, we learned balanced reciprocity in anthropology and African history and all of that. So when he said that you can't find it, I found it quite strange. Well, later we got to know that it was not just gold for oil, but gold and cash for oil. So now, where is Dr. Baumia in all of this? He should be telling us. Fuel should be, because we are climbing up again to the 18 cedis, 22 cedis per litre situation that way. We're doing it slowly, and it keeps coming up, as and when. And we all know how fuel affects everything: food, transport, whatever. It affects everything. So at this point, I think that the Energy Ministry should be talking to us. What is the position of the gold for oil deal? How did it impact And is it still in force? If it's not in force, can they account for it? How much gold did we exchange? How much money did we add? How much oil did we get in return? And why are the people of Ghana still paying too high for a liter of fuel? Because we're not talking about a gallon. A liter of fuel is what sells average like 12.45. So multiply that by 4.5, right? That's we have crossed the 60 Ghana cedi mark.
That's right.
For a gallon of fuel. So we need some answers.
Definitely.
We need some answers.
And this is why
we don't need slogans no more.
And this is why people are asking, whilst the vice president is busy on his campaign trail, who picks up the slack? Because we know he's still the head of the economic management team, unless he's resigned and we don't know about, which would also be not great, because we need to know who is now managing our affairs. And this is something he was proud to announce and tell us about, even though it was an afterthought. I would say that communicators let us know it's a two-pronged approach. It's not just gold for oil, now it's gold and cash for oil. That notwithstanding, yesterday I came across a very interesting thread, and I want some help to wrap my mind around it. My friend Jerome is an economist, and he was casting our minds back to the Fix the Country demonstration around August 2021.
Right.
At that time, a litre of petrol sold for so he says the Fix the Country demo was in August 2021. It's the largest demo I've ever seen. At the time, inflation was 9%. A litre of petrol sold for 6 cedis. In the 2 years that have followed, what we've seen is so brutal. Inflation peaking at 54%. Petrol peaking at 19 cedis a litre. At the time, there was a lot of energy and fervor.
Yeah.
And he says now that the stats are way worse, why are we not seeing that same energy from the citizenry? People say it's because Ghanaians have resigned themselves to the fate.
They've had it. You see, the whole resistance of the government to the Fix the Country movement, as it was called. You know, there was a Fix Yourself movement. We are fixing it movement, which is still there. Some of them have become appointees, since then, and all of that. And it tells you how governments, for this government, dismissal of key concerns that are raised, and how they also want to either belittle them, dismiss them, or rubbish them, if I can use that word. And for me, the length of time that the government took, the protracted length of time before they eventually sent the vice president to come and tell us, okay, these are the things we have done. It was too late. The people had already made up their minds that, you don't care about us. You don't see yourself as being as a salvation, and so we may as well take our destinies into our own hands. People are not complaining publicly. People may not be massing up, but I tell you what, people have resolved in their minds what they want to do. And if there's any example, Ascent North is a clear example, where the people say, look, they spoke about the same issues that are on the national level, but they brought it in perspective of their local situation.
Right.
We need to be very, very careful about this. And you see, again, people are not complaining because they know that when they complain, they'll be told about COVID. They'll be told about Russia, Ukraine.
They know the responses.
We'll be told about Niger if you don't take care, and all of that. So they already know the answers that will come to them. It sounds like a broken record if you keep complaining. So keep quiet, endure it, find a way around it, and do what you have to do.
Crosby, the stats were completely different. And in fact, since that time, since August 2021, 850,000 Ghanaians have been plunged into abject poverty. We are told that we are multi-dimensionally poor. I think it's dangerous for government to see this, like Johnny said, lack of massing up as an indication that there's a thumbs up, or that the people agree that we're turning the corner. The people have given
exactly up. And I don't think government is thinking that the people not talking about it means they are okay now. I think they are also agreeing that whether you say it or you don't say, there's nothing we can do for you. There's nothing we are willing to do for you. So it will be better for the people who would have hitherto gone onto the streets to complain, to talk about it, shout about it, to keep the small energy they have for themselves and invest it in some other hopefully profitable ventures. Think about themselves, where they're getting their next bowl of cake from, where the 50% sachet water, the money will come from, where everything else will come from, instead of shouting at the government, because you shout, you beat yourself to death, they would not mind you. Just reserve your energy and think about your life.
And that's where it gets to the other dimension where I think that the government is becoming scared and paranoid. If you look at the dates that you quote and the period that you quote, it was within that period, after the fuel had surged, that we had the national security talk about see something, say something.
That is right.
Because if your antenna was really up, you would know that there's pent-up anger.
That's right.
You know, and you don't want to encourage that, because if people have energy, they are youthful, they are vibrant, exuberant, and they have pent-up anger. You don't want to see that explode. Now, our government consistently has had cause to tell us, oh, coups are not good. Coups are not good. Why? Because they have seen that same situations pertained elsewhere. Leaders did nothing about it. And then in the end, it exploded. I don't want anything to explode.
That's right.
But if, for example, you will see government cut down on expenditure, you see government shrink its size, you will see government cut down on travels and other things that they can do without in the meantime. I mean, you don't have to go all the way to the United Nations General Assembly if you can have a Zoom option.
That's right.
And be in your country and still make your speech, read 4, 5, 6, 7 pages of speech, and avoid to take per diem, plane travel, sleep in hotels, and all of that. You'll be saving us some cash, and then we can channel the cash into the basic necessaries that the people need. You know, we're not seeing all of that happen, and that's why I'm saying that, look, the government is paranoid. The government, shall I say, is scared. The government knows that it is not a good sign, because if, let's say you're in a relationship,
Right.
you have a partner who's always outspoken and complains about stuff. Suddenly they go quiet, they give you the silent treatment, even though you have not changed, you're continuing with the same thing. You don't know what's happening
You
next.
should know that something is boiling.
It's a heartbreak that's coming, or the person is deciding to do something to you, or you. I mean, you should be scared, because
right.
okay, naturally, if I take this is his or her reaction. If I do this is his or her reaction. Now I do this, and even worse, and the reaction is not the same, I will be worried.
You might want to sleep with one eye open.
Yes.
It is building up. And you know how long it took for the Fix the Country movement to erupt, the anger to erupt? It took quite a while.
That's right.
You understand? And the people were quiet for a very long time before they burst up in anger. I think the same thing is about happening. And then if it is not addressed, the next time a similar trend of Fix the Country comes, it would be multiple exponents of the Fix the Country, and then government will not want that. The good thing I see is we're getting closer to an election year. So the mindset of people is that let's wait it out. If we were somewhere 3 years before an election year, and then after a Fix the Country movement, then the future would not be bright at all.
Yeah. Well, very shortly, Johnny will be biting the time now. It is some 44 minutes past the hour of 6. Well, BOG not mandated to report to Parliament. That's coming from the Majority Leader. This and other stories to follow. 20%